Welcome back to Tiny Talk. It's been 6 months since you last heard from us. I'm Brian Sodre, the general contractor and owner for Miniopolis.
And I'm Sal DiBenedetto, Director of Sales here at Miniopolis.
Sal, what have we been doing for the last 6 months? Please tell our audience why they haven't heard from us.
I think the last 6 months have been a huge step in the right direction for us. We broke ground on the first 3D concrete printed build finally. We have several other builds going up south of Tampa, some on the East Coast as well. And we finally got the 3D printed home finished. We had the open house. We were able to showcase it to everybody. We had over 300 people show up there, so it was a huge turnout. Great to meet all the wonderful people I've been speaking to on the phone for months, to finally get to meet them in person. And now we're shifting gears a little bit into our next big project, the 57 unit development in North Fort Myers, which we're excited to present.
And before we get into that, I really want to get Sal's perspective today. I started this company back in 2020. We didn't complete our first build to approximately 2022. At first, everybody thought I was a bit different, and they didn't necessarily understand the concept until the home was built. They saw it, they felt it, they experienced it, and then it really took off. Unfortunately, we had a lot of red tape where we couldn't take the business off where we originally opened it. Well, fast forward last year where we relocated to Southwest Florida, established an office here, hired our sales director, Sal. You know, he really ran with the project. He ran with the concept, but he's never seen it before. You never saw it other than some photos, right?
Yeah, pretty much just photos of what you had from the one in Cocoa and some renderings.
So today I want to ask you, Sal, from the moment we started, let's start there. You saw some photos, you saw the concept. What were your thoughts originally?
Originally, I was intrigued because I've lived in this area going on close to 15 years now, and I've seen the prices drastically increase, especially in the Estero, Fort Myers area. And I really thought there was a need for affordable housing, but not the crappy type of affordable housing like the wood frame homes or even some of the block homes they're putting together with very little insulation nowadays. And I saw this product, I saw the way that it was put together through some videos, and I was very impressed with the whole process, and that's what sold me on it.
And through that time frame from last year, a little over a year now, you got started with us, you started marketing it, you ran with the concept, you were selling something that you had never seen before. How was it during that time? Did you find some obstacles that you kept running into that may be different from now that you actually experienced it?
Yeah, a lot of people ask me, in your experience, how do the bedrooms feel? Because, you know, seeing measurements and a floor plan on a piece of paper and actually standing in the bedroom are two different things. And I couldn't necessarily answer those questions because I was never in the structure.
Right.
But once the home was done, I actually stood in the rooms and I understand the concept better now. And by the way, the renderings do look pretty spot on to the actual product, by the way. So great job on whoever did those renderings. Now I'm able to better tell the client. I have some photos of the actual house, some videos of me walking through the house I can show them. So it's much easier for me to answer their questions now.
More confidently.
Exactly.
And I think you hit the nail on the head with the renderings. I think it is spot on. So if you're considering purchasing a home, whether Minneapolis or outside, understand that these are renderings that are put together based off of measurements. You know, if a bedroom measures 10 by 10, we know that a queen size bed measures, 5.5 by 7 feet. We know exactly how it's going to fit in that space, and those renderings help bring that to life. Well, now with some real life photos, animations, AI, it all really helps bring it all together so you as the customer feel more confident that you're getting what you're seeing. But aside from how it visually looks, how did the space feel compared to you selling it on a piece of paper, not really knowing what it looks like, compared to actually walking it? Start from the exterior in. Really walk our audience through that has not experienced this home.
Yeah, so looking at the house from the outside, it definitely looks way bigger than 750 square feet. I think the main reason for that is this house has the addition of a garage, so we have the SIP roof sloping up. I believe it's roughly 12 feet, and that really gives a grand look to the house from the outside, which personally, I love high ceilings.
Yeah.
And stepping into the house, like I said, again, with the high ceilings, you have the 12-foot ceilings on one side and the 8-foot ceilings. Even though the living area is smaller than some apartments, I feel like that bigger ceiling just makes the space feel more open and airy, and especially with the open concept kitchen too.
And I know, so let me walk you really quick through our open house. Very successful, might I add, over 300
Super successful.
people. I mean, people were mad that
That was
they couldn't
probably
find
the
parking.
biggest open house in Northport. Easily.
I
In
think
Florida.
more than Northport. I had a lot of realtors say it was a lot of people there, period. Like, some have quoted Brian, if you're
Some
out
want to
there.
hire us to host their open houses now.
Right? He's like, this was the most successful open house I've ever seen. Anyways, I was in the front greeting the guests as soon as they stepped in. So I got to see their first reaction. And it was wow, because immediately after seeing those high ceilings, it really brings it to life that it's bigger than it seems. But you were on the back side of the house where they had already seen the first bedroom, the kitchen, the living room, the laundry room, perhaps already the guest bathroom. What happened when they got to you?
I would say a lot of them were just in shock. A lot of them would say, this is 750 square feet. And then on the other side of things, there were leads that I've been in communication with for some over a year at this point when I first started with the company. And they come up to me, they're like, oh, you're Sal, it's so nice to finally meet you. You know, the house came out nice. And they wanted to do some further research, but I feel like that open house put them over the tipping point to want to move forward with the project.
Oh, that was so refreshing to hear. I did hear a few of that. Yeah, we spoke about a year ago, 3 months ago, 4 months ago.
And then us having the social media presence with the podcast and Instagram, it kind of kept them in the loop on as we were progressing. And when they came to the open house, they were able to see everything come together, which was nice.
Huge success. If you were to put one or 2 points that you heard the most, what would it be? A few comments, feedback, anything that really stood out the most, that you heard absolutely the most from over 300 people that walked the property? What would that be?
I would probably say that a lot of people have been following us, so they know it took roughly 2 months to construct upon permit approval, and that's probably the most surprising comment. And even some people would ask me, how long did it take you to build this? I would say permit approval, 2 months. A lot of their jaws dropped to the ground when I said that, because a lot of these big builders sometimes take 4 to 6 months on an already platted lot in a subdivision to build a house, and that's using traditional methods.
Right.
Another huge point that I probably got is, so this particular home, we were using it as a showcase, so we did some upgrades with the bathrooms. But I would say a lot of people say that the bathroom size was it was like a pretty full-size bathroom, and 2 of them for that size home, especially the master.
Well, just to clarify, they're bigger than your standard size bathrooms. A lot of people always ask, what's the bedroom size? And I think if it's our 3-bedroom layout, it's about a 9 by 9. Give or take, closet space, things like that. I think the master's a little bit bigger. Let me just put that into perspective. Most new builders, their homes, their bedrooms, on average, are 10 by 10. So that would mean we're 1 foot off our square footage,
Yeah.
So to put it into perspective, for a 750 square foot house to still have the same size bedroom for most standard new builds. Now, I'm not talking about these fancy wild blue homes that are $2 million with 20 by 20 bedrooms. I'm talking about your average homes that are still selling for $300,000, $400,000. 10 by 10, that's the norm. Bathrooms, pretty standard, is 3 by 5 for a guest and about 10 by 5 for a master bathroom. Well, this master bathroom in this build was 11 by 5, so a little bit bigger, and that's not including you had a little walk-in closet and you had a little towel closet, so a little bit bigger than that. The guest bathroom, I believe it was 8 by 7, so it had a full-size shower, your standard toilet, standard vanity, and a little linen closet. So we don't sacrifice comfort in our small footprint homes. And that is the point that we're trying to get across. I know 750 square feet sounds crazy, but when it's designed correctly, I promise there's nothing more comforting. There's nothing that brings more peace to mind than knowing that you have a home that has everything you need. And I think you experienced that.
And one other thing I would like to point out too with that front bedroom, a lot of people, I was standing in there watching some people tour to hear their comments, and some people said this room seems a little tight. But once I said we have it measured, I believe it's for, did you say a queen size with 2 dressers on each side? They immediately get surprised and they're like, wow. And I'm like, you know, we measured these bedrooms for a bed and 2 dressers. That's really all you need to do in the bedroom. Anything else could be moved to the living space. But yeah, we can fit a queen size in that front bedroom, which a lot of people were surprised about.
And that's, you know, when we get into real estate or construction, in general, I think any professional out there in the industry, you really want to understand your customers. So I put myself in their shoes. What would I want if I was in that bedroom? I know I want my nightstand to keep my little private stuff, put my cell phone on, maybe a little glass of water for the nighttime. I want to watch my TV. I want a closet enough to store all my stuff. It may not be for you ladies out there that want a full-size walk-in closet the size of a house, but it's got enough for what you need. That's how we designed the home. Same thing for the kitchen, you know. You can have a grand kitchen of any size in any home, but this small footprint home has exactly what you need. But in terms of the rounded walls, I got a lot of feedback on. They said, this is what sold me on the house. This is what I love the most, because it's so different than everybody else's. The fact that you were able to keep that on the interior and exterior was mind-blowing. Even the pavers, you saw how we curved it a bit?
Yeah. Yeah, and then the little touches like the mailbox holder and that support beam holding up that kitchen peninsula was pretty cool too. Nice little touches.
Well, that was a shout out to Printera. They had sponsored those items, which was the countertop stand, the mailbox,
and the flower pot.
And the planter. Very nice touches. So we want to thank our customer who believed in us, who understood that we were doing something different, and that it helped them achieve their goal of affordable house for their son. Sal, thank you for closing that deal. Customer, I don't want to put their name out there, but thank you for believing in us. Thank you for allowing us to show the home. Thank you for this opportunity to really showcase who we are and what we're doing. Sal, any finishing words for our viewers out there that still questioning if tiny homes is it for them?
I think that pretty much wraps it up for us. I would say just stay tuned. We have a lot more coming with the 57 unit plan development and some other single family builds we have coming up here locally. So if you guys have any questions, you can reach out to me directly, 239-329-8804, or sales@minneapolisbuilders.com. And that's pretty much it for me.
All right, thank you. We'll see you next week.